So the last couple of weeks were definitely unexpected. First things went right, and then wrong, and then terribly wrong. So today I have one finished object, one work in progress, and two cast-ons that turned into three, so get comfy and let's dive in. Hi there and welcome to episode 13 of the podcast. My name is Luisa, but everybody calls me Lu. And here on the channel I post regular podcast episodes every 2 weeks talking about everything I'm knitting at the moment and my plans for the near future. But before we start today's video, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that watched my latest video. I recorded a video talking about all knitting tools and notions that I regret buying and what I like to use instead. And I think people are really enjoying the video, so thank you if you watched, left a comment or gave it a like. It means the world to me and I am really happy for it. And the video is linked down below. Alright, so let's start today's video. First, I think we should start with what I'm wearing today. This is the Lyra tee by Iron Lynn that I finished a couple of weeks ago. I think it's more like a month ago or so. And I really love it. It's the only thing I want to wear for the rest of the summer. I'm just going to say it. I just want to wear this. I mean, I don't, obviously, but it's the only thing I really want to wear. And I just decided that I'm going to live in this tee until the end of summer. There's no fighting it. I'm just embracing the concept and the idea of living in this shirt. So anyway, let me put my iced tea over here. So the first project that I wanted to share with you today is my only finished object, which is my sock project. So I finished my pair of socks. So this is the Cuff Club Volume 1. This is the Cuff Club Volume 1 by Summer Lee. So they look wonky because I didn't block it, okay? They fit so great, at least until now, that I was afraid of blocking it and ruining the fit. So anyway, this is the first sock. And the second one, I decided to switch colors between leg and foot to make it more fun. And this is the January chart. I've been calling it the wave motif, but it doesn't really have a name. This is just, I dropped my sock. This is just the January sock. So the way this Cuff Club works is you purchase a pattern and each month you get a different chart. Like this one I have here, you get a different chart for the cuff. So you can play around with the base pattern and plug each chart into the base pattern and make lots of pair of socks. So this is what I have here. I think the color work looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. I have almost zero experience with color work and this is unblocked. But I think it's good, right? I think it is. I don't know if I have any problems with my tension or anything, but I think if I have any problems, it will come out with wear. I think, I don't know. But anyway, I switched sizes throughout the sock. So first I cast on, I think, size large, and then I decreased to size medium, I think. So I have extra gusset decreases here, and I can decide which sock I like best. I think I like the orange one best, but they look so fun, right? I think they do. So anyway, now let me just hold the orange pair, because the orange sock, because I think it's easier to show. It's a lighter color. So this is a heel flap and gusset. Obviously, it was my first time knitting a heel flap and gusset, and I can already say that I don't like it. I know many people like knitting heel flap and gussets, but I don't think it's for me. So I like the fit. I think they fit really good. I mean, I have zero experience with sock knitting, but from what I can tell, they fit pretty good. They fit really snug, and at the same time, they're quite comfortable. So I think I got the fit right, or at least good enough for now for a first pair of socks. But the process of knitting the heel flap, I found it really, well, I really struggled when I was knitting the heel flap. So this section here, Well, first I have two different looking heel flaps. So the pink foot is the one I first knitted, and let me see if I can show you, because this, I think it's a bit tricky to show this section of the sock, but let me try it this way. Can you see? I think you can. So my two heel flaps don't look the same. What did I do wrong? I have no idea. But I think I obviously did something wrong because they don't look identical. So go figure. But I think I probably did something wrong with the pink one because it was the first one that I knitted. So I think there's a higher chance that I did something wrong when knitting the pink one. But anyway, let me show you the orange one because I think it's looking like it was supposed to. But anyway, this is the heel flap, and it really hurt my fingers and my hands and my arms around here, my forearms. When I was knitting the heel flap, my stitches were really tight on my needles, and I didn't really enjoy the process. And the first few rows of the gusset, the gusset decreases, it was the same thing. Things were really tight, and I was trying to, well, create all the movement here and this shape, this thing that is happening here on my heel. So I didn't really enjoy the process. Let me see if I can show you up close. I think it looks good, but I don't really like the process. So anyway, I think I want to experiment with short row heels, and I already have plans on knitting a second pair of socks. So I want to use, oh, now I realize that I forgot to show you the yarn. So anyway, let's stop my plans for now. So the yarn I use for this project is Lana Grossa vintage socks in two different colorways. So the orange one is colorway 1012 and the pink one is colorway 1009. I really love this yarn. It is really soft. I don't know if it will peel like crazy when I wear the socks, but my plan is just to wear it around the house. I don't plan on wearing it with shoes or anything like that. It's just to make it more comfortable and fun around the house, so I think I will be fine. So these are the two colorways that I've used. I really enjoyed this yarn. And the third colorway is Filcolana Arvetta in the colorway 379 Sprout. I also really enjoyed this green colorway. I think it gave a good contrast to the three different colorways, but at the same time it's not that in your face, which is my preferred kind of contrast for color work. So anyway, I think I want to experiment with short row heels, and my plan for my next pair of socks is to knit a stripe pattern. I don't know which kind of stripes I want to go for now, but I think I want to do a stripe pattern with the pink and orange colorways and knit the toe and the heel in green. I think it will be cute. We'll see. I'm trying to experiment with short rows and at the same time do something fun to keep me engaged. So I'm thinking about stripes, but we'll see. So let's talk about cost. Yeah, let's talk about cost and the amount of yarn I've used. So let me get my notebook. So I won't compare it with the amount of yarn the pattern calls for, because like I said, I changed sizes throughout the pattern, throughout the sock. So I don't think it makes any sense to compare the amount of yarn I've used to the amount of yarn the pattern calls for. And also I was pretty off gauge, like I always am. So I'm just going to tell you the amount of yarn I've used to knit my pair of socks. So the foot of, let's just talk about one pair of socks because I changed colors. So anyway, now one pair of socks. No, one sock. I've used 27, almost 26 grams for the orange colorway, so the entire foot and the ankle. That equals to 111 meters. For the leg, so the pink section here, including the cuff, I've used almost 7 grams, so that equals to 26.84 meters. And for the colorwork section, so the green section, the Filcolana Arvetta, I've used 0.9 grams. So just under 1 gram, and that equals to 4.2 meters. So just a little bit of yarn. If you look at my yarn bowl, it doesn't even feel like I used it at all. So anyway, I have, I think, plenty of yarn left to knit a second pair of socks, and I want to knit using the same 3 colors. I think it will look fun to have many different pairs of socks all in the same yarn. I don't know if it will be boring or fun. It would either be too boring or a lot of fun. So it's to be decided for now. Now, in terms of cost, I've paid €9.98 for my 3 balls of yarn. That only takes into consideration the amount of yarn I've used to knit my 2 socks, so the pair of socks. I still have plenty of leftovers like I showed you, but the cost of that will go towards another project. Now, in terms of the pattern, I've paid €15.98 for the pattern, but the pattern includes a base pattern and 12, well, I think it's a little bit more than 12. It's like 15 or so, because some months you get 2 charts. So anyway, let's say there are 12 charts, so I've paid €15.98 for the pattern. If you divide that by 12, I've paid €1.33 for the January chart. So in total, this project cost me €11.31. And I think it's pretty good for a first pair of socks. That I think it's pretty good. But I don't know, I think I need to wear this a few more times, and like many more times actually, to really be able to say if the fit is good or not. But enough about these socks. I've been talking way too long about a pair of socks. So the first work in progress that I want to share with you today is my Lusk tee by Rebecca Clow. And this is when things started to go wrong. So this is what I have here. This is the Lusk tee by Rebecca Clow, and I am using Knitting for Olive pure silk. If I end up saying soft silk mohair, I actually mean pure silk. It's almost impossible to say Knitting for Olive pure silk without thinking. But anyway, this is Knitting for Olive pure silk in the colorway Plum Rose. Really lovely color. I think of this as a lipstick color or a blush maybe. But anyway, let me show you my whip. So this is what I have so far. It is not much, I realized that since last episode. You can see my progress keeper. This is where I was last episode. So since then I've knitted, well, a good chunk actually of the body, and I knitted the collar. So talking about the collar first, this is a regular 1x1 rib with an Italian bind off, nothing fancy. I just purled across my first row. I thought I was, well, keeping things in pattern with my stitch pattern here that has a lot of purl bumps. So I thought it would look cohesive. Yeah, cohesive? I think I'm pronouncing it right, but at the same time it doesn't sound right. But anyway, so I purled across my first row, and then I started with the 1x1 rib. I don't think you can actually see the purl bumps. When I first thought of this idea, I was thinking about a folded over stockinette collar. So the purl bumps really stand out, they make a lot of difference. But I completely forgot that I was knitting a 1x1 rib. So that's why I have this here. So the back, I think maybe you can see it more clearly, the purl bumps. But anyway, I think it looks good either way. I thought about knitting a stockinette neckband instead of 1x1 rib to make the purl bumps really stand out. But I don't know, this is a summer tee with 100% silk. It's going to be really comfortable to wear during summer, I think, and I hope. So I didn't really want to knit a folded over collar. I don't know. This is what I went for. And I think it looks good. Now, regarding the body, actually when I showed you guys this project, I was a little well, I think it was around here or something like that. But I did some bust shaping that the pattern recommends. Well, this pattern is actually a lot of fun. It offers so many options. I think it's a wonderful pattern to have in your library. So this pattern offers different gauges. So it is graded for fingering and DK weight gauges. It has bust shaping options. It has stitch pattern options. So a textured stitch pattern, a stripe, or a good old stockinette. And it also has sleeve length options, so you can either knit a long sleeve or short sleeve. I am going for the short sleeve, but anyway, this is a great pattern. It's my first time knitting any of Rebecca Close patterns, and I'm really happy with it. But now, like I was saying, I decided to knit a D cup or B cup. I decided to knit a D cup bust shaping, and I didn't really know if I needed the bust shaping or not. I measured myself, and according to the numbers, I needed a bust shaping, but I knitted it, and when I tried it on, it looked weird, like I had too many stitches. So anyway, I blocked this, and it grew quite a lot with blocking widthwise. It didn't grow anything lengthwise, but widthwise I got 8 extra centimeters. So yeah, it was definitely too big with bust shaping. So I frogged to where my stitch marker is to remove all the increases I've done for the bust shaping, and I also decided to shorten my armhole depth here. I think my sweet spot's around 20 centimeters. So I decided to start my increases to shape the armhole, not the bust shaping, just to shape the armhole a little sooner than what I've done before. So I frogged to where my stitch marker is, started the armhole shaping a little sooner, joined in around and all of that. So this is what I have here. All of that to say, this is what I have now, and I think it really works. So I will try this on in a little bit, but last episode I completely forgot to share a few details about the back panel. So this is obviously a top-down construction with a slightly dropped shoulder. So you first cast on stitches for the neck and increases to get the trapezoid shape, and then you put your back stitches on hold to pick up stitches to knit both fronts and join the round and all of that. But I knew I wanted to create this stitch pattern that I have here. So I have many purl rows, and I didn't really like that. It looks like a slipped stitch or a knit column of stitches going down this diagonal here on the shoulder, and I felt like it didn't really match the stitch pattern that I had. So I knew I wanted to remove that and start my shoulder here with a purl row. I think it looked, I don't know, again, it felt cohesive. So that's what I wanted to do. So instead of doing all my increases 2 stitches into the row, I decided to increase just 1 stitch into the row. So knit 1 stitch, increase, knit all the way to the end of the row, increase, knit the last stitch, and turn my work. So that's what I did here. And then when I picked up stitches to knit the shoulders, I just did a purl row as my first row. So that gave me this detail here, and I think it looks pretty good. It is not perfect. I think it's because of the 100% silk yarn that I have. So the yarn doesn't really bloom that much, I don't think. It didn't look any different before and after blocking. It just grew widthwise a lot. But I'm really happy with it so far. I just have to knit my 2 sleeves. I know there's a little bit of short row shaping with the sleeves, and I'm really excited for that. And I have to knit the remaining section of the body. That would be a good idea. So now let me pop this on. So this is what I have so far. Let me see if I can show you this way. So it is obviously a little bit short. I think I want to go maybe around here, just below my belly button. So my belly button is here. So I think I want to go just below my belly button. But I think the size is good, right? I don't have a lot of positive ease, but I think I have enough for a summer tee. The yoke depth here, I think, is pretty good. Now, the neck bend here, I think I have a good amount of space, of breathing room around my neck. It is really easy and comfortable to put it on and take it off. So I think I think things are looking good right now. After a few bumps on the road, but now size-wise, I think it's pretty good. We'll see. I don't think I can really say anything before I have a finished body, but at least from what I can tell right now, I think it's looking good. Did I show you the back? So, this is it. Right now, this is my Lusk tee by Rebecca Chloe, and let me take it off. So my Lusk tee is going to live over here for the moment, and things are starting to get really messy, so let me put my sock back over here. And before we talk about the first cast on, let me introduce you to a old but really dear to my heart sweater of mine. So this is the Birch Pullover by Andrea Maury. It is a top-down, all-over half fisherman's rib sweater. Let me show you up close. It has a raglan construction, but I've made quite a few modifications to it. Well, first, I knitted mine using 100% cotton yarn. I'm not recommending it. It was just the yarn that I had in stash at the time and that I could manage to find the colors. These are not the colors that I really wanted, but it's what got closest to what I had in mind. But anyway, this is a all-over half fisherman's rib. I did the same thing for the collar with a folded over collar, and I skipped all the ribbing on the cuffs and body hem and all of that. And you can see that I've done a really fun, in my opinion, stripe pattern. I think you can already tell by now that I love stripes. I love a good stripe pattern. But anyway, so when I first started knitting, I saw I think everybody does this at one point in their knitting journey. So I was back in 2020 and I had just started knitting, and I was walking down the street one day and I saw this really cute sweater at a store window, and I thought, oh, I don't need to buy it. I can make my own and it would look even better than the one in the store. So I got so full of myself that I decided to knit my own half fisherman's rib sweater. But I had no idea the stitch pattern was half fisherman's rib. I just took a photo of the store window, went back home and started looking for something similar to the one in the picture. So up until that point, I had just knitted a few projects actually, but I was always following a YouTube tutorial on how to knit raglan sweaters, how to knit a drop shoulder sweater and things like that. So it was looking for this pattern online or something that looked like the Birch Pullover that I found out Ravelry was a thing. So that's why this project is really dear to my heart, because this is how I found out that Ravelry existed, and the Birch Pullover is my first ever written pattern, well, that I knitted from. But anyway, this is what I have so far, and I think it looks really cute. The pink color here, this lighter pink, it's not exactly what I had in mind. I wanted something darker, but I couldn't find it at the time, so I went for this instead. And that would have been fine if I had knitted the right size. So this is too small for me, to the point that I've never worn it, and this is just living in the back of my closet waiting for my niece to get old enough to wear this sweater. So this sweater is going to live a few years in my closet. But anyway, my first cast on is a Birch Pullover, because I want to recreate the one that I saw at the store window, and I want to wear my Birch Pullover. So if I can manage to knit the right size, that would be awesome. So anyway, the yarn I had in mind was host yarn super soft in a few different colorways to get all the stripe thing going on here. I wanted to recreate this sweater, and I could only find the colorways that I really wanted in this host yarn super soft yarn. So I'm using 3 different colorways. So let me see if I can show you like this. So the dark one, this deep red, wine burgundy color, is colorway Jasper. The orange one is Amber, and the pink one is Comfrey. This colorway Jasper I have knitted my traveler hoodie in with and the orange one is really fun, Amber colorway, and the third one, Comfrey, is a little bit darker than my main color over there, so it was what I had in mind. Oh, and the fourth color, I forgot to grab it, so just a minute. So I have it here now. So I couldn't find the fourth color that I wanted. I bought another pink color from Host Yarn Super Soft, but there wasn't enough contrast between the two. I don't know if the camera even catches the difference, but anyway, this is colorway Cranberry, and this is slightly darker than the Comfrey one, than the right one here. But anyway, I couldn't use this Cranberry, so I have this instead. This is Lana Grossa Yuli Marlin White in the colorway 1380, and this was my idea for the lighter and darker pink shades. But here's the thing, I decided to cast it on, and I did. Oh, I grabbed the wrong ball of yarn. So this is what I have here. The beginning of round is at the front, so this is what I have so far. It's just a folded over collar, also have fisherman's rib, and I finished the short row shaping at the back. So it's just a little bit of fabric that I have, and I'm going to frog it. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to frog it. So first things first, Host Yarn Super Soft. In my opinion, it is quite scratchy. I know it softens up with blocking. I've knitted my traveler hoodie with this yarn held double. It was the Jasper colorway held double, and every time I wear it, I find it a bit too scratchy next to skin. So I like wearing it, but it is just a little bit too scratchy, especially if I don't have a long sleeve tee underneath. So the scratchiness of the yarn coupled with the texture, this half fisherman's rib texture, I don't know, I'm not really sold on the softness of this project. And also, Host Yarn Super Soft, I like the yarn, I like knitting with it, but I think I like it best if I pair it with mohair and things like that to make it a little bit softer, because this yarn is really thin. This is a light fingering weight yarn, but I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't close the gaps between stitches. So I have just a little bit of fabric, but my gauge, it looks too open in my opinion. If I look through the short row fabric that I have here, I can see my computer. I can see the window and things like that. So I don't know, I'm not really sold on the fabric and the softness of it. And also I couldn't find the darker pink color, the darker pink in Host Yarn Super Soft, so I had to go with a different yarn. And this Lana Grossa yarn, I think it's a little bit thicker. It is fingering weight, but I think it's a little bit thicker and way softer than Super Soft. So I don't know if will I have different textures between each color, each stripe. I don't know, I'm not really sold on this project. So I wasn't really sold because I've already decided that I'm going to frog it. I just didn't frog it yet because I wanted to show you guys this. I really like the color, but I don't like the yarn in this project. So I'm not sold on the fabric, I'm not sold on the dark pink yarn, I'm not sold on the scratchiness of this project. So yeah, and to be completely honest, I'm not really that excited to knit a birch pullover. I like the pattern, I like the yarn. It is a bit scratchy, but I still like the yarn. But I'm not really that excited to work on a birch pullover right now, if I'm being honest. And also, I want to keep the same stripe pattern that I had with my first iteration, and according to my math, and knitting the entire stripe pattern here, so all 4 colorways. My sweater, it was either going to be too long or too short if I stop knitting in this burgundy color here. It was either going to be too long or too short. So yeah, I'm not sold on the project, so this is going to the frog pile. So I decided to frog my birch pullover, but I didn't give up on knitting a second iteration of the sweater that I saw at the store window in the right size this time. But I'm having a really hard time finding a dark pink shade that I have in mind. I have a idea in mind, but I can't seem to find the yarn. I am looking for a really dark pink, 2 different shades of pink actually, for the sweater. So I want a dark pink here and a even dark pink for this really thin stripe here, the second shade of pink. But I'm having such a hard time finding the yarn for this project. But this is going to be my 3rd time knitting a birch pullover, so I really want to get this right. So if you know of any dark fingering weight pink yarn that you think would be good for a birch pullover, please send the recommendation my way and comment down below your suggestions. I would highly appreciate, because I just can't seem to find 2 really dark pink shades in a fingering weight. And I am also thinking about pairing it with a mohair. That way I could go up a few needle sizes and not knit an entire half fisherman's rib sweater in a 2.75 millimeter. So I think pairing it with a mohair would be even better. And I am having just a really hard time finding a dark pink shade that it's not purple. Everything that I find is more purpley than what I would like, so I don't know. Anyway, if you have any suggestions, please send them away and comment down below, and thank you so much. And I cast on another project. So this is what I have instead, and this is a stripe high pullover by Veronica Lindberg. I already had the pattern in my library, so it is my first time knitting a stripe high pullover. She's one of my favorite designers, so it was a no-brainer, to be honest. So this is what I have so far, and I'm just going to, well, I haven't joined in the round yet. I still have 2 more stripes left to work on the front before I am ready to join in the round. So the yarn I'm using for this project is also Hoscarn Super Soft. I wanted to make use of the yarn that I had planned for my birch pullover. I didn't want this to go back into my stash, so I am knitting with the same yarns, so called Jasper, Amber, but I am using the darker shade of pink. This is Cranberry, it's also Hoscarn Super Soft, but it is a Cranberry colorway, which is slightly darker than Comfrey. So I'm using the same yarns, and there's also the beige yarn, which is also Hoscarn Super Soft, but this is the colorway Oatmeal. So Oatmeal, it is a light beige color. I already had this in my stash. I didn't buy yarn for this project, so this is what I have so far, and I'm really excited to work on this project actually. So I love stripes. I am keeping the stripe idea and the sweater project, but if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't go for this color combo if I was planning on casting on a stripe hype sweater, but I had this yarn in my stash. I didn't want to buy yarn for it, for this project, so this is where I'm going with. This is what I'm going with. But I think it's looking pretty good, actually. I am enjoying it, but I think I'm liking the look of the sweater so far. So let me show you up close. I actually really enjoy it. So this pattern calls for 5 different contrasting colors and 1 main color. My main color is the oatmeal colorway, but I just had 3 different colorways that I could use as a contrasting color because, like I said, there isn't enough contrast between the 2 pink colorways that I have, so I had to choose between the 2. So I decided to go with the slightly darker shade. So this is what I have. All over, super soft, hose yarn, super soft, no texture, just plain stockinette with stripes to keep it more interesting. And I blocked my swatch and it really softens up. So I think I will be fine. I think I will like the texture. I think it will be soft enough to wear next to skin because this has no texture, so it's softer than my second attempt of knitting a birch pullover. So this is what I have. It is not much to show you, I know, but I think I really like it. And I am off gauge. This pattern is intended for DK weight gauge or fingering weight held double. I am just knitting in fingering weight held single, so I am regrading the pattern to my gauge, but I think it's looking pretty good. Like I said, I wouldn't go for these colors if I was planning to cast on a stripe high, but at the same time, I think I like the stripes. So, like I was saying, so this pattern calls for 5 different contrasting colors. I just have 3, so I am modifying the stripe pattern a little bit. So I'm just going to repeat orange, wine or burgundy, and pink, orange, burgundy, pink, all over, and we'll see how that looks. But at least I'm really excited to work on this, and I think it's going to look pretty good if I'm just using stash yarn without any plans. And yeah, this is what I have so far. Now, I said I had 3 cast-ons and I've already showed you 2. So the final cast-on is a clutch, a bag. So I've been wanting to cast this on for ages now and I just dropped my zipper. So I decided to cast on the Honey Clutch by Petite Knit. This was previously called Honey Wash Bag, but she merged 2 different patterns of hers. So now this pattern is called the Honey Clutch. So I'm knitting size large, which is the original Honey Wash Bag, if I got things right. This is what I have so far. I know it's not much, but this is what I have. And the yarn I'm using for this project is, let me put this here, my main yarn is BC Yarn Bio Shetland in the colorway 53 Terracotta. I don't know how to pronounce that. And the mohair is Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Rust. So this is my combo. I'm really happy with it. I love the 2 different yarns together. You can't really see any color difference, so I really love it. Let me show you up close. So this is knitted from the bottom up. So you first cast on and knit a rectangle of double knitting. It is this bottom here, and then you pick up stitches on 3 other sides and start working the sides in the round. Well, in the round technically, because to create this honeycomb brioche, this is brioche by the way. So to create this honeycomb brioche stitch here, you know what, let me see if this way is better. There you go. So to create this honeycomb brioche stitch, she recommends knitting in the knitting flat. So you turn a work on the wrong side, and then turn right side, turn wrong side, because she says in the pattern that depending on the yarn, the honeycomb pattern can look a little bit slanted to the side depending on the yarn, so I didn't want to take any risks, and instead of knitting the round I decided to knit flat, so I'm turning my work after each row. So yeah, this is taking me some time. And also the double knitted bottom also took me quite a while to finish, but this is what I have so far. I won't lie, honeycomb brioche stitch, it's easy to do, but it takes a while. To me at least, it's really slow going. It is a slog, but I think it looks really good. And I really love the look of it. I think it's going to be a really lovely clutch. My plan is to use this as a notions pouch, but we'll see. Now, if you watched any of my podcast episodes, you know that I'm not a talented person when it comes to sewing. So instead of taking any risks and sewing my own lining for this clutch, I decided to purchase Petite Knit's lining. So this is what I have. I'm just going to show you now because my plan is to have a finished clutch before next podcast episode. So I think it's a good idea to show the lining. Anyway, this is what I have. It is just a box of cotton fabric, but since this pattern has a zipper, the lining has this opening that I don't know, I just never saw a lining that wasn't attached already to a bag. So I found this really interesting, but if you've already seen the lining before, I think this is no surprise to you. Anyway, and the zipper, I am knitting my clutch in a rust color, so Petite Knit didn't have any zipper, any orange zipper, so I just went for the dark brown one. This is a 23 centimeter zipper, I think. Yeah, I think I'm right. So this is what I have. I think it will look good. I think it will. Let me get my project. I think it will look good. Yeah. You can already tell that I don't know how to show you this. I don't know how to show this in front of the camera, but anyway. Oh, my zipper is backwards. Anyway, this is it. I think it will look cute, but we'll see. So I think that's all I have for you today, actually. This is going to be my first time sewing a zipper. I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but that's a problem for future me, and I will report back on the experience of sewing a zipper. But anyway, this is what I have for you today. I hope you liked today's video. I certainly had a lot of fun filming it, and if you want to share with me what you've been working on or your opinions on my projects, I would love to know and chat with you all in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, and ring the bell, all those things YouTube likes. I would love to have you stick around, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Oh, I have a zipper. Bye.